Hi, good day YouTube. I'm just going to do a video decoding my interpretation of where we're at, our current timeline, future timelines, and just looking at the patterns or the cycles that keeps looping. So just want to shout out Jason Brashear. He's a chronologist, which he would have highlighted two dates that I am going to show, which is 2028 and 2040. 2040, he predicted the Phoenix event, which is going to reset our simulation, and then 6 years after the Nemesis X event. But I'm just going to show my understanding of it, because he said if something is true, it can be seen or shown from multiple vantage points. So I'm going to highlight my understanding of this. So in 2000, which is an end time date, we had the Y2K event where they said all technologies would crash, planes would fall from the sky, and somewhat, and yeah. So 2012, we have another end time date, which is the Mayan long count calendar ending and a new one starting, a new cycle starting. And there are so many cycles because we're in time, we're stuck in time, and it's cycles within cycles. The time controls the energy. It's like we're in a time release capsule. It's the best way to put it. And every couple of years, once we can see the patterns, the cycles, we can determine what the future holds for us. The past is connected to the present creates the future. So they are all intertwined. So 8 years from 2000, we have 2008, which would have been the financial collapse. One end date, 8 years after, financial collapse. Another end date, 2012. 8 years from that, 2020. It's building on the event that happened in 2008. This time there's a financial collapse, but there was a virus that ushered it in. But all in all, the theme is more or less the same. There was a financial collapse in 2020. Businesses were shut down. Lots of people lost their businesses. People couldn't afford to pay their rent, and it was just a very tough time. And even now, a lot of people haven't really recovered from that. So we look at 2020. So 2008, same 12-year distance. If we had 12 to 2008, we get 2020. We had 8 to 2012, we get 2020. So 2020 I see as a new end time date. Alright, and then we look at 8 years from 2020, brings us to 2028. So what I predict here in 2028 is another virus outbreak to usher in a new digital world currency. So coming down, we look at here, which is 2028, and we add 12, which would bring us to 2040, which would be the Great Organic Reset, which chronologist Jason Brashear said there would be the return of the Phoenix that is going to create a reset inside of this simulation. Right? So from here, right, 12 years from 2020 will give us 2032. And what I predict here in 2032 would be the end of the global hidden hand timeline. These elites that control this current artificial simulation, all of their corporations, masking these evil atrocities that's being perpetrated against humanity. So we look at 2036 as well. But if there's so much here, so if I miss some of these because they are cycles within cycles, but I just want to highlight the major events. From 2000, come all the way to 2036, we have to look back at the events here in 2000. The event where they said the Y2K didn't happen, right? No plane crashed from this, the technologies didn't crash. But here in 2036 is where I see it happens. These dark technologies that we are currently using, it's all going to end here in 2036. And if we look at this period here, 2048 would be definitely connected 36 years from 2012 would no make a mistake here. I made a mistake. 36 years from 2012 would take us to 2048. Alright, so 2048 is where I see our new timeline happening, because in 2012 they said the Mayan long term calendar would have ended of the world. So 36 years into the future would take us here to 2048, where this event of our new timeline comes into our simulation, our new simulation. Doesn't start the new simulation, but it ends all the other calendars and those cycles. It ends here in 2048. But here's something interesting. 2025 is connected to 2052 if you inverse the last two digits. And in 2052, I see it as a new simulation. This is where it begins. This is where it stabilizes. And our new construct starts, where we would have whole new experiences. All the other timelines would have been archived. Some say it's like they kind of collapsed, or they are stored in this big database called the Akashic Records. But a whole lot is gonna collapse here in it's gonna collapse before in 2048, but the new simulation begins here in 2052. So this is my interpretation of it. Wanted to go a little bit deeper, but my phone battery is about to end. So we are locked inside a time capsule, and time controls everything. Time controls the energies, our experiences. So Saturn, the Lord of the Rings, Kronos, controls time, is the master of the simulation that we're in. The sun powers everything, but these other planetary bodies, they release energy based off of time, based off of Saturn. Saturn is the Lord of this rings, the Lord of this construct. I have created a system where I can predict even a person's life. What happens is that I see teams that show up. All of these here are potential, and they are teams. The possibility of them not happening, it's there, but not happening the way that we would have interpreted. Just like, for instance, in 2000, there wasn't any event where the planes and the technologies would have crashed. But we see that here in 2036. So it's all locked into time, but you have to understand the cycles first in order to predict the future. So I've created a system even for persons' lives, but you need to have data, because first you have to understand where you're at, to look back into the past to see what cycle it connects with. And when you recognize the cycle that it connects with, then you can predict the future. And that is what I'm doing here, because there are so many dates in between here as well, because it's cycles within cycles. So hope this was informative, and this is my take.